Today I have a Bosch Ascenta Dryer, and I'm going to show you how to use this Bosch Ascenta Dryer. But before we get started, could you give me a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to my channel? I'll appreciate it tremendously. All right, so let's go ahead and open it. So here is the drum where the clothes go into to be dried. And if you look at the bottom, this is the lint filter. I'm going to set it down on the ground and show you how I open up the lint filter, which needs to be cleaned before each use right here. Do you see that? I'm just cleaning out the lint of the Bosch Ascenta Dryer. So once you do that, you go ahead and close it up and make sure that there's no huge chunks of lint down in there. Clean that out periodically. And then put the lint filter trap back in there. Put your clothes in and then shut the door. And then I'm going to go ahead and move over to the controls. You have cotton extra dry, but of course you have the off feature right here. It's natively should be an off. Make sure the power is off. So let me get in closer. I'm going to show you. So the first one is cotton extra dry. If you want your cottons extra dry, I suggest you put on that option. And then the one that I most commonly use is cotton dry. So most of my clothes go in the cotton dry. And then cotton damp for when you want your clothes not to be overly dry, just slightly damp, because you don't want them to shrink or something. The sanitary, which dries at a very high temperature. The jeans, there's a jean option that you can also choose from. There's a quick dry where it uses more energy to quickly dry your clothes. And then there's also an air fluff with no heat for those of you who just want to refresh your clothes or fluff your clothing. Do that. There's one for woolens. So if you have wool fabrics, you should put them in there. And then there's also a time dry where you can adjust the time for how long you want your clothes to be dried. A time to program 40 hot, which means that is a hotter temperature right there. For the timed, there's an option for delicates for those of you who have clothing that needs a delicate touch to it. Heavy duty for heavy duty drying. There is a permanent press, which no one knows what permanent press means. Permanent press damp. There's permanent press dry. And then there is permanent press extra dry. Does anyone even know what permanent press means? I still don't know it. And back to the off setting. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to cotton dry, because that's what I normally dry my clothes with the cotton dry. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go over these controls. You have this right here. The time dry does not work unless it's in the time dry selection. You can adjust the dry level of how dry you want your clothes to end up. And then the finish in, it's also known as the delayed feature. You can delay your wash for up to 24 hours. Now, I use this feature every now and then for, I don't know, I just use it. It goes to 24 hours and then press it one more time and it goes back to regular. There's an option for low heat if you so choose to have your clothes dried at a low heat, a wrinkle block if you don't want wrinkled clothes. And then there's also a signal. So when your clothes are done, the signal can go off alerting you if you choose to have that option. And when you're ready to start your wash, you just simply come over and press the start button and the clothes begin to dry, not wash, excuse me. So you have that right there. And over here is just the Bosch Ascenta. I'm going to show you one more thing. Down here, this is where the condensator is. So this right here does not have a natural exhaust. It has a condensation, and occasionally lint will build up in here, and you would want to clean the lint out because it could become problematic if you don't do this often enough. So you have that right there, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to pull out the condensator. Now this is a condensating dryer, which means it doesn't need an exhaust. It just recirculates the air, and the condensation right here is collected. And if it has a hose connected to it, the water is drained out of the house. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put this back in. Now it does need cleaning. Okay, so remember, this needs cleaning occasionally so you don't get too much debris caught up in that. So I'm going to put this back into place, and we're going to make sure it's securely sound in there. just like that. So once it's securely sound in there, I'm just going to take this and close it. And this is how you use a Bosch Ascenta washing machine. If this video was any help, can you please give me a thumbs up? Thanks a lot.